Welcome into the CHGO Blackhawks postgame podcast presented by PointsBet. Use promo code CHGO when you sign up to get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. I'm Jay Zawaski with Greg Boysen and Mario Tirabassi. The Hawks lose 4-1 in Minnesota. Preseason's almost over. There's one more to go.
Almost.
Saturday at 2 p.m.
And then the real hockey begins.
Yeah.
Woo!
So I think, fellas, we're going to have to kind of find a way, and we're learning this earlier than maybe we expected, where it's not just doom and gloom every show, because it's going to be a long season. I have a lot of confidence that my beard is going to remain after seeing the preseason here. It's just... they're just not good. They don't have a lot of guys that can put the puck in the back of the net.
No, the bet is if they finish
a
bottom
better
three
than
record,
no,
it's gone. Yeah,
no,
that's what it was.
No,
you were betting that they weren't going to finish in the bottom 3.
Yeah, exactly.
And if they do,
I don't want to shave my beard.
Yeah, and if they do finish in the bottom 3, you're saying they're not going to finish in the bottom 3, and if they do, the beard's gone. That's what the bet was.
Oh yeah, my beard's screwed.
Yeah,
you're right.
Yeah,
you're right. You're right. I might as well just do it now.
Yeah, you might as well.
Look, it was if you've watched any of the preseason games, this was very much a similar story. A little more offense. The Hawks actually
they did score.
They scored. They had the edge in scoring chances in the second and third periods. They were on the power play constantly and weren't able to convert, of course. It was a lot of the same in the first period, though, and that's kind of where I want to start is after the game in Milwaukee, everyone was talking about the Hawks' lack of willingness to put the puck on net, and the one guy who kind of bristled at that was Max Domi. He was like, what do you mean? I'm not deferring to anybody. And you saw him do it over and over and over in this game. Things seemed to get better. I think Luke Richardson probably had a conversation in intermission saying, guys, let's go. When you have an opportunity to shoot, please shoot. And they seem to get that message.
Yeah, especially on the power play. We cannot have another instance where you get more power play minutes than you have shots in total. Just not just on the power play, but in total in a game. A couple guys got the message. I think it now that we've gotten to the point of the preseason where the cuts have been made and most of the guys that we were excited to see in training camp and, these young guys, see how they play. Now they're all gone, except for Colton Dach. Yeah. But he's likely flying out back west in a matter of hours. Now they're all gone. Now it's just like, okay, now who are you excited for? Lucas Reichel? Nope, sent him down. So now it's like really going to be trying to find the good things to kind of pick out from these games. Especially starting into the regular season, but some of these guys have to throw us a bone and give us something good to talk about. I mean, the goal for Jack Johnson was good to see. It was an easy. One of the cliches is like, hey, get traffic in front of the net and shoot the puck, and anything can happen. Well, it actually worked sometimes. You get enough bodies in front of the net, take away the goalie's eyes. Great shot by Johnson, by the way. Keeping it low and getting it through there. But it's just like these simple things that are just going to have to be simple victories for the team and for us this season. Where you're gonna have games like this where the offense is not there, and it's just like, hey, you really have to. Especially for Luke Richardson, trying to, implement his system and teach this team to do the right things, you really have to focus in on those one things that go right and say, hey, let's duplicate this, let's triplicate it, and build from there. Triplicate, is that a word?
I don't know. I like it though.
It is now. Man. After the game in Milwaukee, practice on Monday or Tuesday, whenever they were back on the ice, Luke Richardson, we showed him video of when they passed up the shots, and all we did on today in practice was working on shooting. And in the first period, no one wanted to shoot the damn puck.
Yeah.
They got outshot 15-4. It got better. They outshot them. They outshot the Wild 22-8 the rest of the game, including 15-3 in the third period. It helps when they were on the power play for most of that third period. But still, it got better. But that first period was more of the same. And Luke Richardson should find Max Domi every time he passes up a shot. It's gotten to that point.
Yeah.
He's refusing to shoot the puck. And he was the one, after the game in Milwaukee, it was Ben Pope that brought up the point. You and Andres Athanasiou seem to be deferring to Patrick Kane. And he was like, I don't agree with that.
Yeah, what do you mean?
Watch the tape, dude.
Yeah.
Look at your stats. Hey, Justin Fields says stats don't matter. Well, look at your shots on goal, Max. There aren't any.
Yeah.
Shoot the puck.
They need him to be productive.
Somebody's got to be taking the reins here. Somebody's got to step up. It can't be Patrick Kane all season.
Yeah, Max Domi, 20 minutes and 22 seconds of ice time, 1 shot attempt, no shots on goal.
Yeah, okay, but tell me how you're not deferring your shots there, buddy.
That can't be. I mean, you can't have a guy who you're counting on to provide offense. Because, look, someone has to score on this team.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be goals, allegedly. Someone's got to put them in the net, and Max Domi's one of those guys. And look, he signed here to bet on himself. 1-year deal, bet on yourself, prove it, go out and show that he can be the guy. Dude, you're hurting yourself. And look, it's preseason, sure, but I don't think he's on the ice saying, well, if it wasn't preseason, I would shoot.
Right.
Right? You're it's a game. You're playing in a game. You're not thinking any differently during a preseason game. You've got to, just put the damn puck on the net. There were so many opportunities to do so. And it's not just him. There was a moment, too, in the first where Philip Roos gets the puck, kind of between like the face-off dot and the point, walks in, has an open look, and then just decides to pass it to behind Mackenzie Entwistle for some reason. I think part of it is the team had not scored in 2 games. And they're very, very, and it's natural for you to fall into that, like, we have to make a perfect play to score a goal thing. But I hope, and maybe that's what happened in the intermission, that Luke Richardson said, enough is enough. Let's go. Shoot the damn puck. And the game sort of turned, at least like shooting-wise, after Jack Johnson's goal. It seemed to be kind of like the turning point in the game where they're like, all right, monkey off the back for the whole team. A puck went in the back of the net. Let's just do our thing now.
Yeah, it seems like the Blackhawks just kind of needed that like push to be like, okay, we finally ended this ridiculous scoring drought for the preseason, and it looked like they started to jump into the game. So hopefully, we're not talking about games where it takes stretches of 3 straight shutouts or whatnot to have the offense have to start getting a kick in the pants to start shooting the puck, because it's just, this is a team that is not going to be very good. Like, we all know Dr. We Notice is in the house. All right. We know this. The team's going to be bad. And through the preseason, this has been, for some people in the chat, for myself, I knew it was going to be bad watching this team in the preseason. And I know this is not a full NHL lineup. Even tonight was not a full NHL lineup. This team is bad. And it's just, you don't want to get bad habits in the preseason. And I don't really see a lot of like, oh, well, yeah, they're not as talented, but hey, they're doing this well. They're doing this well. They get this. Mm-hmm. I other than the fact that, they're kind of, they still have that compete level, like deferring. Some of these guys are destined for the AHL. Like, literally shoot your shot. This is your time. This is your last time to be on this NHL team. Make an impact. Don't turn over the puck 5 inches from the goalpost.
One guy in white had that mindset in this game, and it was Colton Dach, who said, this is my one preseason game. F it. I'm going to make an impression on this coaching staff and on this team. And he was the best Blackhawk by a lot in this game. And I don't know if that's a good thing, but as we've talked about the prospects since we started last March, Colton Dach is not a name we've talked about a lot in terms of, like, what do we expect from him? I think part of it is, like, subconsciously we're like, well, he's Kirby's brother, and Kirby hasn't been great, and he was picked later than Kirby, so he can't. There's no possible way he'd be great.
He's
you know what I mean?
The same player as Kirby.
They're
Dach.
absolutely not the same player.
Night and day.
Yeah, If it wasn't for the name on the back, you would not know they're related at all. No. They don't look alike. They don't play the same way. They're complete opposites.
Yeah.
And I mean, Troy Murray was gushing over it, saying he's been awesome. He's winning board battles. He's aggressive on the power play.
Troy Murray was GM. He'd be in top line opening night.
14 minutes for Dach, 5 shots on goal, all on goal, 3 hits and a takeaway.
Yeah, and he drew a penalty.
Yep.
Yeah,
so
got under Matthew Dumba's skin and got him to take a penalty while the Hawks were on a power play.
Yeah,
so
set up a little bit of a 5-on-3.
A few seconds of 5-on-3, but yeah, Colton Dach, not Kirby.
No,
there's no
confirmed.
doubt about that.
I remember when he was drafted, the scouting report was kind of like similar to his brother, but way more of a shoot first guy than his brother is a pass first guy, and that's very clear.
Yeah,
very clear.
They keep talking about him, and everyone keeps saying, "Oh, he's really confident. He's really confident. Maybe he's cocky." That might be a good thing.
Again,
Kirby was
not Kirby.
Kirby was the opposite of that.
Kirby had the confidence drained out of him.
Yeah, and like, don't get me wrong. I still think Kirby Dach is a really good kid. Like, good person. You know, I hope he succeeds in Montreal as much as we're going to hear about it if he does.
Mm-hmm.
I hope the best for him. But, man, you saw, especially last year, a guy that was just in his head, and Colton does not have that. I've never, even when Kirby was playing well, you never saw him assert himself like Colton did. And maybe it is, like, this is my one chance to make an impression before I go back to the out west. Okay, maybe. Impression made.
Yeah.
And there's people on Twitter saying, like, maybe he should get the 9 games to start the season with some spots open. I don't know. It doesn't seem like really what their plan is based on what they've done roster-wise so far.
Yeah, you can't be super patient with Lucas Reichel and then say, hey, 19-year-old Colton Dach, go play for us.
Yeah, I agree with you.
It's counter. It's say one thing, do something different.
Yeah, it screws up the messaging for sure.
Yeah, and Mario, as you mentioned earlier, it's a good point, and we talked about this while we were watching the game on our very comfortable couches here at the studio. It's nice to be back on those. I haven't sat over there in a while.
Yeah.
I haven't had a reason to, but if you're going to watch bad hockey, at least do it in comfort, right?
Oh, yeah.
But we were talking about, yes, it's preseason, and these games don't count for anything, but there's reason to be concerned because you can develop awful habits during preseason that carry over into the regular season. We talked about the deferring of shots. Somebody else that is, preseason concerning me is Jonathan Toews. Has he checked? I mean, I'm not going to accuse the guy of checking out already, but it doesn't look great right now. And maybe he's on, hey, I'm a 16-year-old vet. I'm going to cruise control through the I could, that proverbial switch we used to always hear about. I don't think he has that switch anymore.
The switch hasn't been flipped since 2016.
That thing is stuck in the off position, and I'm concerned about that because if he's not engaging in one-on-one battles, he had the turnover that led to the last goal, and just kind of just like skates by the play, doesn't stop where he's supposed to. It's concerning. Yes, this game doesn't count in the standings, but if that play carries over into the regular season, then that's one of your that's the guy that's supposed to be setting the example.
Right. So
I'm hoping it's just, hey, it's preseason. I don't have to care about these games, which I don't care about. Like, if that's the mindset, fine. It's concerning.
For him, I don't know, after having such a down year last year, if that's his attitude, that all of a sudden, like, I'm Jonathan F. and Toews, and I'm just going to show up and be good when the regular season starts, based on what?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you got a little bit better at the end of last year, but you missed the year before that. You went, 25 games without a goal last season. You haven't been the same guy in at least 3 years. So you're just going to assume, and I don't think that's what it is. I am very afraid that Jonathan Toews is just what he's showing. And that's really bad news for the Hawks because he's going to be unhappy and he's going to be untradeable.
Yeah.
And that is a really bad, toxic combination for this team. Fortunately, and maybe that's kind of the mindset too, is, God, we don't want any of these kids that matter around what could be a toxic clubhouse for a while.
Yeah. I mean, that's a valid concern. I mean, we saw the attitude, I don't want to say outbursts, but the different attitudes of Toews last season when it became clear that the team was not going to be contending for a playoff position and it became clear that they were going to start selling off, pieces that were valuable to the team. We've been told from, what he has said and what we've heard from Kyle Davidson and Luke Richardson and the discussions that they've had with the veterans and the leadership group that, they're all coming in with the right attitudes and, giving with Toews and Kane, giving the season a shot to start and seeing what things are like. I mean, would we be surprised if one or both of them already sees some writing on the walls of like, hey, this year is going to be the worst year of my career if I stick around here all 82 games, and already questioning that? Not even just in this coming into this season, through the off season, being like, okay, what is a rebuild going to look like? What's it going to feel like? Who's going to be the coach? How does Luke Richardson operate? All these things. Now they've had a few weeks to kind of see that out. Now they're looking around the locker room and they're looking at, no offense, but they're looking at Buddy Robinson, and they're, they're looking at,
should offend someone smaller.
Yeah, well, yeah. I don't know. I don't plan on going to many Rockford games this year, so that's Greg's deal. But
I'll see him in Rosemont.
Yeah, so they're looking around the locker room, and it's not the locker room that they've been used to, and it's not players that if I was a Jonathan Toews or a Patrick Kane, looking at my teammates and thinking, okay, who's going to be here, who's going to help me, I would look around and be like, in the back of my mind, ooh, it might just be me out here, especially for Patrick Kane. And I don't know how much that might creep in, but if body language and effort and everything, even just in the preseason, if that's any indication, I mean, it could be creeping in already.
It's concerning, as I said. A couple of things I just want to clear up in the chat before we move along.
Yeah.
A couple questions about Colton Dach. Wendy Cedar Hockey asked, wasn't he Colton Dach called up to Rockford for the playoffs? Yes, he was. Him and Nolan Allen both had ATO amateur tryout contracts. They never got in any games. They were just kind of practicing. I could totally see that happening again this year. In fact, would be surprised if it doesn't. Both of those guys, and maybe they actually get to play in the playoffs this year. So I could see that happening. And the next, was it somebody else asked if he was too young for the AHL? He is too young for the AHL. He's only 19. Mm-hmm. Got to be 20 to play in the AHL unless you're from Europe.
20 at a certain.
Yeah, you got to be 20
date.
Before, I think, December 1st or something like that.
Yeah.
So he's too young. So he has to go back to juniors or the NHL. AHL is not an option for him until he's 20, he will be at the end of the year.
He'll go back to juniors, and the plan that we're seeing with Kyle Davidson and handling these prospects is, keeping them in the oven. Let them cook more. We don't need, medium rares as much as that's the preferable meat temperature. Sure, yes, we don't need medium rares. The Blackhawks are looking at they want some well-done steaks, some tough, gritty steaks that you got to really cut through to get them, to get the most out of them. So I think, Dach will head back to juniors. He led Kelowna in scoring last season. No indication that he might not, or that he won't be able to do that again this season. We're looking at Blackhawks prospects that potentially could be playing for Team USA and Team Canada, and the other European countries as well, at the World Juniors, and that's going to be very exciting to see which of these young guys go through. I think Colton Dach is in the mix, Nolan Allen's in the mix, Ethan Del Mastro's in the mix. He's already won a gold medal with World Juniors.
Frank Nazar will be playing.
Frank Nazar with Team USA, he'll be there. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good young guys to look at and pay attention to, and it really feels like we said it all summer, like the guys that are going to be important this year are going to be the guys that end up being in Rockford, the guys that end up being in juniors, and that's the case. That's as much as we said it. It is true, because watching these preseason games, man, we're going to try our damnedest to give you guys reasons to keep tuning in, but it's going to be tough.
Yeah,
well, that seems like a good time to remind everybody, if you're not a member at All CHGO already, you should become one, because Mario and I have started our weekly feature, the Rebuild Report, where we've split up the Blackhawk prospect pool. Mario is keeping tabs on all of the junior players in North America and college players here in the States, while I'm keeping tabs on the guys who are already playing professionally, AHL, ECHL, and over in Europe. And every week we're going to just keep you up to tabs on who's doing what. And we just had our new one out come today. I think Thursdays is generally.
Yeah, we're going to shoot for Thursdays.
It may change as things go on. But listen, our written coverage this year, the written content is going to be prospect heavy for the next couple of years. We'll talk about what's going on at the United Center here on the postgame shows, but it's the written content where we're going to deep dive into the prospects and keep you up to date. So that's where you want to be, allchgo.com.
No doubt. In a second, we're going to tell you about PointsBet, but I don't want to overreact to one preseason game, but if we can suddenly start projecting Colton Dach as like a top 6 kind of a guy,
maybe
that you're probably in a better position than you thought you were. Remember, he scored on the first shift at the Tom Culver's prospect tournament, then got concussed and hasn't played since, and then tonight was the best Hawk on the ice tonight. So if that's another guy you can put, I don't want to say in the Reichel tier, but 1B in terms of your prospects.
Well, he was paired with Reichel all through that showcase.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think, as far as prospects go, they're looking to maybe work those two together.
Yeah, he went from being who some people considered a PR move,
right,
to now a legit NHL prospect. If he turns out to be better than Kirby, then that's a big win.
Ooh, definitely.
Huge.
It's a low bar.
Speaking of big wins, it's football season. PointsBet is bringing you a better way to bet live on games, which means before this ad is over, you can turn on that crap-ass football game that's happening and place a live same-game parlay. Bet on the next drive to be not a touchdown and cash out on your live second-half under bet. With PointsBet, you have access to more live football markets than ever before. Build the perfect live same-game parlay by combining your favorite bets anytime during the game. That includes spreads, totals, player props, and more. Choose the outcome of the next drive and next points with PointsBet Lightning Bets. So whether you're on the move or on the couch, do it live on PointsBet. Download the PointsBet app today. Use the code CHGO to get your first 2 bets risk-free up to $2,000. And if you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER for crisis counseling and referral services.
And if you're taking in this football game on the side of the CHGO Blackhawks podcast, after watching that Blackhawks and Wild game, one thing that I think will help you with your gut health after watching all of that is some AG1, the formula from Athletic Greens that is designed to improve your gut health, optimize your immune system, and give you more natural energy. And just one scoop of AG1, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens that help you start or finish your day right. If you have different dietary restrictions for whatever reason, if it's gluten-free, dairy-free, or you eat keto or vegan, with AG1, you're good to go. You can incorporate it into your diet and into your life, no matter how busy you might be. And right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. It's just one scoop in a cup of water every day. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you got to do is go to athleticgreens.com/CHGO Blackhawks. That's athleticgreens.com/CHGO Blackhawks to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance.
Yes. Skokes, I did say Tom Culver's. I do it on purpose every time. It is a way to subliminally promote my other podcast.
Did you see they're bringing back the Curter Burger?
I did see that. First reported on the I'm Fat podcast.
I literally heard you squeal all the way up in Harvard Heights.
On the I'm Fat podcast, we have a Culver's Insider Honestly, and we have a Culver source.
Is it Tom Culver?
He works in like Culver's management, and he always gives us a heads up on stuff like that.
That's good.
So like 2 weeks before a press release is out, we get it and we get to share it on the podcast.
Who are you more proud of, your
that one.
Culver's
No,
source
that one
or your
for sure.
Blackhawks?
The Culver's insider for sure.
Wait, I gotta ask, what is a Curder burger?
Curder burger. It is there is a cheese curd patty
on top,
like
of
a burger shaped cheese curd on top of the burger.
Yeah.
It is.
I'm watching.
It's great.
It's good stuff. Oh yeah.
I think Steven's aroused. He definitely had a look on his face like, oh my god.
Was he smiling and biting my fist there? Is that what did
I think
it?
it's I gotta look up the date again, but it'll be for, so the last time it was like for 1 day. They're gonna have enough to have stores for 2 weeks worth.
Oh, that's
at
a
every
lot
store.
of cheese.
Allegedly.
So they're good.
Hopefully they last longer than the
Culver's-
adult Happy Meals at
Culver's
McDonald's.
does not do a lot wrong.
No.
You go there, it's the same experience every time. Everything's right. They very rarely make a mistake. So this is going to be. I've had one before. I had it when it came out last time, and it was wonderful, just as you'd imagine.
Oh yeah. It was
So
fantastic.
yeah, it's great. But yeah, Culver's Insider is
like
a
the
great
root beer
thing.
from Culver's too.
They have diet root beer, which I enjoy too. Because when I'm having a Curder burger, I need a diet root beer.
Yeah.
It offsets.
You got to
know.
watch your figure.
Got
you
cancel
know?
out that giant cheese curd with some diet root beer.
Right, exactly. By the
down
way,
with
No
that.
Roids Just Rage doing my job for me, letting people know. Hit that like button. Please do. Appreciate so many people being in here with us tonight after a late night, not late night, but a kind of bummer of a preseason game.
Spectacular preseason
I
game.
can't believe I drove 2 hours in traffic to watch this.
Yeah, that was.
team.
Hey,
boy.
but on the plus side, your food actually got here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Shout out to.
And the order was correct. So maybe new hockey season means the curse of
Yes.
the food delivery has
that
been
would
lifted.
be that'd be great. Yeah. If I have to endure this season, I would at least my food deliveries should be on point.
We have to watch a potentially historically bad team, but at least our food will show up.
That'd be great.
That's
That's
a
it.
fair trade.
Yeah, they started finding us. That's great. Should we get to our 4 stars?
Sure, let's do
We should
that.
probably do that here.
We had the whole roster to choose from.
Yes.
Yes,
the
we
4
sure
stars
do.
were
The actual
no
3
Blackhawks.
stars. Number 3, Philip Gustafson. Number 2 is Sam Steele. Sam, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know why
Sam
it sounded
Steele.
wrong coming out of my mouth. I don't know
Sam
why.
Steele.
Sam Steele.
And
Yeah.
Marco Rossi, the number 1
Man
star,
of Steel.
all for the
Sam of Steel.
all for the.
Sam Steele, who has the most porn star-like name in all of hockey.
That is right. Yeah. Well, him and typo negative lead singer Peter Steele.
Right. R.I.P.
Good one.
Sky Point.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to go. If you've listened so far, you probably know I'm going with Colton Dach. Really impressed with him in this one. We've talked about it a lot, but just showing confidence with the puck, willingness to shoot, an ability and a willingness to fight and win along the boards. Really impressed with his game. And I honestly, like, for 20 minutes of ice time or whatever he had, maybe 14 minutes of ice time, he has sort of turned me into a Colton Dach believer in terms of his long-term development. So loved it. Loved his game. And when you hear Troy Murray going out of his way to sing the praises too, you know you're on the right track. So, yeah, awesome game for Colton Dach, so he gets my 4-star.
Greg?
Right on. I'm going to go with another one of these young players trying to make the roster in Alex Regula. Alex, sorry, I always screw it up.
I gotta get another jar.
I always call him Alec, and I always call Vlasic Alex. Yeah.
You got it.
All right.
Yeah,
See,
you got
I'm
it.
never gonna get it. They can only one of them can make the team. So my vote is for
Yeah,
Alec
only one.
Regula. So I
Pick
don't
one.
screw it up. Anyway, number 75. He had a nice kid game tonight. He was aggressive from the blue line. He had 4 shots on goal, which is tied for second on the team. Him and Jack Johnson both had 4 shots on goal. That's
The defense getting involved.
yeah. When Jack Johnson is one of your leading shot producers,
And your
Yeah.
leading scorer.
that might be a problem.
Yeah, that too.
But hey, that helps us get closer to Connor Bedard. But Regula, real nice game. 4 shots on goal. Played over 19 minutes, 19:27. Had 1 hit according to the scores. But he was aggressive out there. He was noticeable. He's a guy that's, he might be on this team opening night. Maybe, maybe not. It's pretty much down to like him and Roos in that final spot. And Roos has been outside of that play where he passed up the shot. He's been fine. Like he's not. He's I don't get itchy when Philip Bruce has the puck or is on the ice as I have with other defensemen in the past. So, Regula, nice game. Good to see it. He's playing with confidence, and that's what you want out of the young players.
Yeah. I would put a shiny nickel on Alec Regula being the final defenseman in the lineup and Philip Bruce heading to Rockford. I'll say that right now. My pick tonight was the goal scorer, Mr. Jack Johnson. Banana pancakes for everybody. Just good to see that he is he's coming into this roster, into the lineup. He knows the role he's going to play. He's going to be a veteran leader voice in a locker room that is youngish, kind of inexperienced-ish, trying to find out their identities for a lot of these players. He's not going to be here for a long time. He might see the end of the season. But I think, he's coming in knowing what his role is going to be. And so far through the preseason and through training camp, he seems like he's enjoying his time here. And I think that's pretty much as much as you can ask of someone in his position, especially going from winning the Stanley Cup to being on a roster that will very much be at the bottom of the standings. Jack Johnson is my 4th star of the night. And we'll see how many times that happens in the regular season.
Got a comment from Michael saying, it's a tough watch. The new play-by-play guy puts me to sleep. And Lebowski follows up with, yes, I miss Pat Foley already. Pat Foley calling this team?
Yeah, not good.
You want to talk about checked out?
Yeah.
He would be, here's the draw. Passes it. Especially without Edzo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it'd be miserable.
No.
Give
Vossers are going to at least give you some energy and some enthusiasm.
Give him a little time. Get used to it. It's a different type of call, but he'll be fine. I think he's doing a real good job, and I think the broadcast with him and Sharp are going to be a lot of fun because they got some chemistry going already, and they basically is just breaking Kobe's balls, about his attire, but they're having some fun.
That's how you endear yourself to the Hawks fans, I guess.
Apparently, I mean, I like Kobe.
Got to sideswipe Kobe for some reason.
Yeah, I mean that's how you get on Hawks fans' good side. But
weird.
I think those broadcasts, not that, and I love Troy Murray. Troy's my guy, but I think the Sharp Vosters broadcast will be fun as the season goes along, and they're going to enjoy themselves because otherwise they're just going to be miserable human beings. So they're trying to have some fun. Yeah. And Michael had a comment earlier. Our positive ray of sunshine, Michael, is about Derek King. Is he coaching this offense? Keep him off the offense. It doesn't matter who's coaching this offense.
Scotty Bowman could coach this offense.
Mario Lemieux, Wayne Gretzky, whoever you want, Gordie Howe's Ghost. It doesn't matter who's coaching these guys. They're bad at offense.
By the way, Derek Plant does the power play. Kevin Dean does defense. And Richardson and King co-manage the 5-on-5, which means Richardson does it and King helps him with what he needs help with.
You can game plan all you want, but when a guy gets it 6 feet in front of the net and then decides to pass, that's not game planning.
Yeah, that's not Derek King.
Poor execution.
Yeah,
that's not the coaching
and lack of talent.
That's bad execution. And I just want to give a couple shout outs, honorable mentions to our 4-star. Andres Athanasiou. We criticized him heavily because he was one of those guys guilty of passing and not shooting. Tied with Colton Dach for the most shots on goal, 5. Looked really good out there tonight. And then Alex Stalock was really good in that first period. You can't really pin much of those goals on that. First goal was
he got hung out.
Buddy Robinson forgetting the puck right next to the net. Bad mistake. And then that next shift right off the draw, they were just like, we're just going to stand here and let you skate. And then that third goal was Alex Vlasic making a rookie mistake and going off to the change and the long change, and then there's Matt Zuccarello up the middle, and he ain't gonna miss that shot.
Vlasic screwed himself on that shift too because they had a chance to clear and whiffed, and then they got pinned for like another 90 seconds. Yeah, so he saw a chance to get off and just
he took it and it cost him. And those are what Luke Richardson loves to say in his post-practice press conferences, teaching moments. I'm guarantee you he's going to see that shift in video tomorrow, and hey, don't do that.
Speaking of Alec Regula, we caught up with him after practice on Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday.
That would have been yesterday.
2 days ago. Was it yesterday or 2 days ago?
Yesterday.
It was yesterday.
It was yesterday.
Feels like a lifetime ago.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
I can't keep it straight.
I asked him a bad question because I gave him an either-or question. I said, have the Hawks communicated with you whether or not you're going to make the team, or are you just going to do the best you can? And here's what Alec Regula had to say at Fifth Third Arena to my horribly phrased, awful. You can't do that. You cannot do the either-or question. That is piss poor.
We're doing some film study with
preseason
with
for
Jay
us.
I
here.
feel shame. I feel shame. But here's what he had to say.
It's our rookie season too.
Yeah.
I'm just doing the best I can, see what happens. They haven't really been communicating much, like in that regard. Obviously, there's some guys that are out right now, and their timelines are a little bit, unclear. They're a little kind of day-to-day, week-to-week kind of thing. So, I'm just not focusing on what I can focus on, just trying to play my best and just get better every day and just see where that takes me. So that's all I'm focusing on right now.
We saw with some of the moves yesterday, Reichel going down, some of the other guys going down, that they're really prioritizing Rockford winning, and I wonder how the fact that you're still here and they're not, does that give you any sort of confidence or any sort of, I don't know, does it inform how you're feeling about your chances?
We're getting down to it here in the last couple of games, but like you said, I know they want Rockford to be a strong team this year, but I think I'm in a different situation than some of those other guys. Like Reichel, he's a couple years younger than me, so I think I played a full year last year. I was there the year before, so I think I'm kind of at a different point in my career where maybe it's time to see what I can do at this level. So hopefully that's what they're thinking, and that's kind of how I feel.
Have you noticed any progression or what progressions in your own personal game since the end of last season to now?
Yeah, I feel like I'm in better shape physically this year, a little bit stronger, but it's hard to say, just a couple games in, but I feel better overall, but I think I'll have a better idea of that as the year goes on here, because, we're just getting into it. I'm just kind of, even the first couple games, I felt like it was just kind of knocking some cobwebs off and just getting back into it, so I think as we go, we'll see, but I feel better overall.
It's Alec Regula after Wednesday's practice, and any sort of indication on where he stood with the roster didn't help today with the defensive pairings. Alex Vlasic, who has been with Seth Jones basically since he was called up last year, was suddenly paired with Philip Roos on the third pair, and Alec Regula was paired with Riley Stillman. So it's hard to kind of determine and handicap this whole thing. I think you're right. I think Regula, he's an older. He's 22. He's not 19. So he's an older prospect with some AHL experience. I think he's been better than Roos. And I think at some point, yes, you want to protect your prospects, and yes, you want to make Rockford good, but you can't. I also think you have to reward guys that have done the work and gotten better and outplayed their competition. You can't just say, you're a few months younger, so you're going down. That's not fair. And I think there could be a bit of a eye roll effect from some of the players. Come on, I know we're rebuilding. I know Rockford's important, but I earned this job and didn't get it.
Right.
That can be frustrating.
Yeah, and the other thing too is, there's a little bit of a monetary, what's the word I'm looking for?
Difference.
Influence. Yeah, a difference. There's there's a monetary factor to it as well, trying to wanting to stay in the NHL rather than playing in Rockford. I think between those two, you're kind of splitting hairs. I don't think sending either of them down impacts Rockford in a negative way. I think you're still going to be getting a pretty quality young player. And I think in Chicago, you're obviously dealing with some injuries on the blue line. And either player you're going to throw into the lineup, you would imagine. Mm-hmm. So I think between the two of them, you're kind of splitting hairs. I would rather go with a little bit more of the known commodity in Regula, since he played in the NHL last season. He did have a pretty successful AHL season as well. Roos, as decent as he has looked so far through the preseason and training camp, that's really all he has in North America. So I would probably lean towards, let's now give him some time in the AHL and let him kind of get a little bit more used to the smaller ice, the speed of the game. The
Much more
physicality of
physical
it,
game, too.
yeah, and get used to it there before throwing him into the NHL.
He's looked decent, but he also hasn't really stood out.
Right.
I think there have been moments where Regula has stood out. I think tonight especially, he just played really well and showed, all the elements you're looking for. He's physical. He's big. He can shoot. He's got some offensive upside. I don't know. I just think it makes all the sense in the world for him to make the team, which means he'll probably start in Rockford.
Who knows?
Yeah, it's just hard to predict, but yeah, it's a Chuckle Muckle actually asked a good question. Are the Hawks going to take a run at Sonny Milano? We were actually talking about this during the intermission, and we can't really figure out why he's not getting a contract from anybody.
Yeah, I mean, he's 26. He had a pretty decent season last year. I don't understand why he's not on an NHL deal. I figure he's an effective enough player to play in the NHL. And I know we were kind of joking, but maybe he's just a real pud and no one wants him on the team. I don't know. But yeah, would that be someone for the Blackhawks to take a run at? Maybe. I mean, if you're looking for someone to, Sonny Milano is not going to ruin the tank. Nope. That's not an issue. And if you're looking for someone who's kind of in that middle ground where they're not young, he's been around the league enough to be considered a veteran, I would say. And if you buy low, you might be able to get a big return out of it. But it's not a big risk at this point. You can get them for a really cheap deal.
Yeah, 34 points in 66 games with the Ducks last year.
Yeah.
I mean, why not?
But I think, why not? But at this point, you kind of know who, for most NHL teams, you know who your NHL roster is. So
yeah,
I don't know. It's interesting that he is not on a team.
It just feels like one of those guys who you could take a flyer on, get for a very low salary, and if he has another season like last, flippable.
Get him for league minimum.
1-year deal, league minimum, trade him at the deadline.
Get him for a third-round pick later.
Yeah, it's like Jack Johnson. Like basically what you're doing is paying $950K for a draft pick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Fine. It's just money, right? Like,
right, yeah.
I don't know. And another thing Troy Murray was saying sort of when he was talking about Colton Dach is there's a couple roster spots open here for forwards, and no one's really stepped up and taken it.
No.
There's guys you're just going to default it to because they're here, but which forward is like taking the reins and captured a job?
No one.
Nobody. I think Kurashev has been pretty good. I think he has solidified his spot for sure. But, Taylor Radish is fine. Kachuk looked good in the one game, and then he got hurt. There's just not a lot of...
Yeah. Who would you rather have, Buddy Robinson or Sonny Milano?
Sonny Milano.
Probably Sonny
all
Milano.
day. I mean...
I'm kind of curious what the Ducks did this offseason where they let Milano go for nothing. They let Sam Steele, who scored tonight, who's been tearing it up for Minnesota. He's got 5 points in 4 preseason games. He's going to make that roster. Kind of strange how they didn't sign either one of those two guys, especially Steele. He was a draft pick of theirs. They kind of were like, eh.
Could we have a dual Pudwack situation?
You know what?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Rumors of Pudwackdom.
We gotta start like a Pudwack report, and just check in with people from out of town. Like, hey, off the record, Pudwack. Oh yeah, Pudwack. We've confirmed.
I don't know if I'm comfortable using the term whack with a guy whose last name is Steele. It's a little weird.
Yeah.
Pudwack. I don't know, but. Milano was Calgary, right?
Bud Steele.
Yeah.
That's a tough roster to make.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
That's a tough roster to
make.
That's a lot of veteran guys making lots of money with Stanley Cup aspirations. So,
well, yeah, like the Flames releasing him from his PTO is them saying, we don't have a spot for you. We're not going to send you down.
Right.
So why don't you go find a spot somewhere else?
I bet you he lines up somewhere. I'm sure everybody in Toronto thinks he'll be a superstar at the Maple Leafs.
Once the season starts, I think that's when you'll see some roster flexibility open up a few games into the season because everyone's got to be cap compliant and all this stuff, and LTIR kicks in and all the circumventions and stuff. But yeah, once we get a few games into the season, you don't hope for it, but it's going to happen. There's going to be an injury to someone, and they'll be like, "Oh, well, Sonny Milano's a free agent. Well, let's get him." I think that'll end up being the case. But yeah, I mean, again, to the original question, I would have no issues with them being like, "All right, sure, we'll give him a shot."
Remember, Brent Sopel was on a PTO at the Red Wings before the Hawks signed him, and the rest is history, my friends.
It's true. Primary assist on the
That's right.
Game 5 OT winner for Marian Hossa.
And then he cross-checked Martin Erat for no reason 5 seconds after the goal.
Hey,
love that too.
That's
Why
my
not?
favorite part of that whole. That's my second favorite part of
Why
that whole
not?
scenario. After, of course, the Hossa goal being my
That's pretty
favorite
good
part.
too.
Yeah, but
that's pretty good too. Yeah. It's I don't know. It's just I'm really curious to see because it feels like Saturday is going to be full dress rehearsal. So I think
Luke
tomorrow,
Richardson's been telling us.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
we're
what
going to get some
Richardson
news
said.
tomorrow on who's going down. I'm just fascinated by here's how far we've fallen. I'm really fascinated between the Alec Regula and Philip Roos contest. Why? I don't know. It is currently the most intriguing storyline of preseason, and I don't know. I hope you're right, Mario, that Regula makes it because I do think he's earned it. I think if you watch these games, he has been. I think Vlasic is clearly he's penciled in. It felt that way kind of from the beginning.
If Vlasic is sent to Rockford, I would
That'd be a shock.
I would be shocked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very shocked.
But Regula has been the better of the two.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I hope he makes it.
I hope he does it, and it'll be interesting to see. Indications is Caleb Jones will probably be ready for opening night.
And Murphy is in non-contact, but they seem to be alluding to the fact that he'll be ready.
Yeah, and so, it'll be interesting if Regula makes the team, and hey, if he plays like he played tonight and he plays well, what do you do when McCabe comes back? You know,
Yeah.
do you, if Vlasic has a couple games like he had tonight where he fought it a little bit, maybe that was a product of being taken away from his security blanket and Seth Jones. We'll see what happens. Interesting. Maybe do you start making phone calls? Hey, what do you think about Riley Stillman? Is he a guy that gets traded early in the season?
Maybe.
Lots of things
Signed
to happen.
cheap for another year after this one.
Yeah, I mean, and not signed by Kyle Davidson. Just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
He was not Davidson's
And
investment.
Jones is a guy he extended. Mainly probably mostly just out of necessity more than like I have to have this guy.
Well, yeah.
Hey, come back for another year. That was fun. Let's do that again.
In the time that Davidson had taken over, Caleb Jones had a better
Yeah.
showing.
Yeah, so I mean it's gonna be interesting to see how that plays out. I'm rooting for Alec Regula. I like him, good kid. He's got some upside. So it's gonna be those are the things that are gonna keep us intrigued this year, is how the roster shakes out throughout the course of the year. Do we have guys from Rockford that get called up? When we have an injury, who's the guy that gets called up? Do they take the best guy available, or do they take the guy with the most NHL experience? It's going to be weird things like that because we're going to deal with that a lot. Hockey is a very physical sport. Newsflash. So
What?
It's going to be interesting to see how this shakes out. Hey, 9-9. That's an awful football game going on
to
right
overtime. Yay.
It's-
People are leaving.
It is
overtime's
yeah.
about to
I don't know if
start
this is
and people
breaking
are
any
like,
rules, but it is 9 to
"Screw
9.
This, I'm out of here.
The Broncos faithful are heading to the exits.
That Russell Wilson thing is
9
just
to 9
bad.
going to overtime. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
That's horrible.
They're exiting like they've lost.
The other thing to keep an eye on, though, Greg, to your point about Rockford, is what's the approach going to be if guys start performing and like you kind of can't deny anymore that they belong in the NHL? I think the main threat for that is obviously Reichel.
Yeah.
If Reichel has 12 points in 5 games, how do you look at your team and say, like, well, we don't feel like he's ready yet?
Keep him around.
Like at some point, you have to at least pretend to be trying.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was the reason, and we mentioned it in our audio-only podcast yesterday that was finished in your car.
Yes, it was.
I think that was part of the reasoning why Reichel was in Group B all preseason. And on a line with like Dylan Secure and
Yeah,
other
we don't want you to
NHL
be too
guys.
good.
They're like, hey, we don't want you to make us look stupid, and we want you to go in Rockford, so we're going to kind of like not give you the tools to succeed right now. So, I mean, if he blows up those first few games, it's going to be hard to say, But again, who knows? Things can work their way out. He could blow up early, and then someone goes down with an injury, and there's your easy solution. So, we'll definitely be tracking the Reichel story. Everybody's going to want to know what he's doing down in Rockford, and we'll definitely be keeping you up to date. But, Tuesday or Wednesday, it starts for real.
Yeah.
So then we
Real
can stop
stuff.
having overreactions, and our gripes can be for real.
Yeah, real reactions, real overreactions.
We're going to be in Denver.
That's right.
For that opening night game. It's going to be a lot of fun. And don't have the details yet, but keep your eyes posted. We're going to have a crossover show with our Avalanche crew from the DNVR bar sometime Tuesday night. Shooting for 7 Denver time, which is what?
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock here.
Yep.
So somewhere around there, we'll let you know. And then Tuesday or Wednesday, we'll have a post-game show live from Denver. That's
gonna be great.
A lot of fun.
It's gonna be a
I'm
good
sure
time.
that their studios are in the DNVR Sports Bar, and I'm sure opening night, banner raising night, that's gonna be
That's gonna be a good
it's gonna be a
time.
fun time there, and hopefully they take it easy on us.
And a preview to what's to come here at CHGO. That's the plan, is to eventually have a CHGO sports bar too.
Yeah.
Where we'll have our studios there. You can come hang out with us during the games, and then we'll run upstairs and do a show when it's
Be a good
over.
time.
That's the ultimate plan. So
Yeah.
it's going to be awesome when we get that fully realized. We should also mention the next tailgate, which is November 6th. Bears, Dolphins. Join us at the corner of Michigan and Roosevelt for an amazing tailgate. I could not believe how well the first one went. It was just unbelievable. Had high expectations, and then pulled up and looked at everything and said, okay, my expectations are blown out of the water here. Just great. Food truck, booze, beers, Paps, waters, all that good stuff. There were donuts. Later, pizza came.
Awesome DJ.
Live music.
Music,
Great, fantastic
games.
DJ. Had people
It was a lot of
dancing.
fun. A lot of fun.
We had our Chi-Town cornhole bags out there. Just a wonderful time. Go to allchgo.com to get your tickets. A couple options are available. You can just buy a ticket to the tailgate. You can buy one that includes parking. You don't need a ticket to the Bears game to attend, but if you want one, make sure you check out the Game Time app and the any of our podcast descriptions. Use those links to get your tickets to Bears Dolphins. But it's going to be a great time, November 6th. Join us out right near Soldier Field. It's going to be a good time. And we've got, is it time for the play of the week?
Play of the week.
Sure. Let's
Bears
do it.
play
It
this
is.
week, so it's play of the week time.
Yes. Here's the good part. This will probably be our last football bet of the play of the week, and maybe for the Super Bowl we'll do something. But
That's a shame.
this time next week we'll actually be able to start making our plays of the week on actual NHL hockey games.
Yes.
Which will be fun. But we're gonna go back to the Bears game, and we're not gonna be positive this week. We were thinking of the under.
We were riding that Bears train for a while, and it is
Yeah.
now pulled into the station.
We were debating the under at 44, but we decided to go with a fun little prop bet, and that is for the Vikings to win every quarter at plus 800. That is the points
like
bet.
that.
It's an
play
exotic
of the
bet
week.
that I
Yeah.
enjoy making.
That doesn't mean leading the whole game. That means putting up more points than the Bears in all four quarters.
Yes.
Plus 800.
I think it can happen.
So what happens if like it's 0-0 after the first? You lose.
You
That's
lose.
over. The bet's lost.
You lose.
Well,
They
you
did
know.
not win They did not win. Well, it might be a push. I don't know if you lose it. Well,
well, I feel
if they,
like, 'cause I think
yeah,
the bet
no,
is-
they would,
yeah.
yeah, you would lose it. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
All
correct.
right, but anyway, we're still
Because it
going
has to
with
be every quarter. But
I think it's a pretty decent bet.
Yeah,
This
but
feels like an
it's-
ass whooping coming.
It does. Well,
It's a fun one.
we were talking about that earlier. Like this is the first game of the year where we think the Bears are going to get their butts kicked. I mean, we talked ourselves into them being close in the Packer game, and then the Texans and the Giants were like, yeah, they should probably beat those teams. Now we're like, oh, the Vikings are going to just crush them, which means the Bears are going to win like 28.
I hope so. I hate the Vikings.
I
with
do
a
too.
Fiery passion.
I'm all for Bears upset. I just that's what my heart says, but my wallet says bet against them.
They can run the ball and they can pass the ball, and the Bears can't really do either of those things, so it's a bad combo.
tough
they
to do
can
in
barely
football.
snap the ball.
Yeah, and if you thought this Thursday night game was bad, wait till Bears Commanders, my friends.
But good thing is that
Al Michael's going to quit.
you that Thursday you'll be able to switch off around halftime and watch Blackhawks Knights. That might not be much better, but we'll be up for a late night post game show.
Yeah, from home.
From home.
We'll be getting home that day.
Thursday,
it's
yeah.
gonna be an interesting.
So,
day.
yeah, so schedule update. I know you just mentioned Wednesday for the season opener. Greg and I are here Saturday. Remember, that game's been changed from 7 to 2 p.m., so we'll be on around 4:30, 4:45-ish. Monday, we are remote, planning to go Tuesday live from Denver, crossover show. Wednesday, postgame show from Denver. Thursday, remote postgame show from home. So we've got a lot going on next week.
Saturday, another remote postgame show from home.
Yeah,
after
so
the Sharks game. So yeah,
And those are
late night West
Thursday. Well, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday will be some late night games.
Yep.
and since the late night games Thursday and Saturday we're gonna be able to do them remotely, I will be sans pants.
I might do it now.
I'm gonna be in bed.
Blackhawks after dark.
Yeah, let's do Saturday nights all from our bed.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love that.
Get the flashlight.
Like get like a nightcap and like look like
the sheet over your
the night
head.
before Christmas. We got our
Let's
little
do it.
candles.
Yeah.
That's gonna be fun. I honestly, it is going to be a long year. It is going to be a year full of losses, but we're gonna have fun. We're gonna find ways to make it entertaining. And if you want to get to the point where we watch the game so you don't have to, cool. Just make sure you're here with us after the game. And it's great to see. Like I said before, all the people in the chat right now, and everyone who's listening to the podcast, we see those numbers too, and we appreciate you. But just seeing the familiar faces, no matter what time of day, we've got our loyal fans here, and we greatly appreciate it. Make sure you smash that like button on the YouTubes. Make sure you're subscribed to the podcast wherever you listen, Spotify, Apple Pods, wherever. Make sure you're subscribed. All those great things we greatly appreciate. And if you're feeling frisky, a 5-star Apple Podcast review would mean the world to us. We'd greatly appreciate that. And, of course, become a member at allchgo.com. Greg's history piece is coming out tomorrow. Our prospect report, the rebuild report, came out today and will be out every week. And come regular season, I'm going to start writing a long column every week. So there's going to be tons of content coming your way for the CHGO Blackhawks crew. So before we wrap up, we want to thank Steven for running the show. Great job. Appreciate that.
Long day for him.
Yeah, man. Really long day. He's working his ass off here, doing a ton of stuff behind the scenes, like so many of our producers are doing here. And for Greg and Mario, I'm Jay. We'll talk to you Saturday on the final preseason postgame show of the year. This has been the CHGO Blackhawks podcast.